let's look at Numbers chapter 7. Numbers chapter 7. Now, Numbers 7, if you have a title in the Bible like mine, you find that it says that it has to do with the offerings of the leaders. The offerings of the leaders. So let me begin by reading verse 1. Begin by reading verse 1 to verse 5. Number 7, verse 1, it says, Now it came to pass, when Moses had finished setting up the tabernacle, that he anointed it and consecrated it and all its furnishings, and the altar and all its utensils. So he anointed them and consecrated them. Then the leaders of Israel, the heads of their father's house, who were the leaders of the tribes, and over those who numbered, made an offering. And they brought their offering before the Lord, 6 covered carts and 12 oxen, a cart for every 2 of the leaders, and for each one an ox. And they presented them before the tabernacle. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Accept these from them, that they may be used in doing the work of the tabernacle of meeting. And you shall give them to the Levites, to every man according to his service. All right. So you find that in this event that happened here, it was when Moses had finished setting up the tabernacle, and he had dedicated the tabernacle to the Lord. Now remember previously, the Israelites had already collected a donation. They donated generously for the building of the tabernacle. It was recorded in Exodus 25. It says, Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they may bring me an offering. Everybody say, an offering. So they brought an offering the first time. From everyone who gives it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering. Look at verse 8. What was the purpose? Verse 8, it says, Let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them. So the first collection, the children of Israel had already gave generously for the purpose of building the sanctuary, the tabernacle. Now you come to Numbers chapter 7, and here Moses had already finished setting it up and dedicated the tabernacle to the Lord. But yet you find that the 12 tribes of Israel, again, one more time, brought a special offering to the Lord. But this time, look at the purpose. In Numbers chapter 7, verse 5, it says that they may be used in doing the work of the tabernacle of meeting. So the second offering now, as they come with their generous giving, it was for the purpose of doing the work of the tabernacle of meeting. Now this time, their contribution was for the ministry and maintenance of worship at the tabernacle. Now, friends, here it contains a very important truth concerning church. You see, church has a building, but church is not a building. A beautiful church sanctuary or a magnificent worship auditorium has no life in itself. You see, a church only has life and carries the presence of God because of the people, because of the ministry of the people, because of the continuous, generous giving of the people, because of the worship of the people. You see, if the people do not give themselves to worship, if the people do not give themselves to serve at the tabernacle, you find that we may have a world-class venue, but it would be just having a form, but denying its power. Because church is people. You are church. Turn to your neighbor, tell your neighbor that you are the church. Amen. When you consider the gifts that the children of Israel brought to the Lord, you find that they are means of ministry and sacrifice. So they brought gifts that are means of ministry and sacrifice in the tabernacle. Now let me show you. Verse 13. Numbers 7, verse 13. It says, his offering was 1 silver platter, the weight of which was 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense. Verse 15, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb in its first year as a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs in their first year. And this went on for 12 times, times 12. So you know what? The tabernacle is becoming a zoo. Now, these verses repeated 12 times. So consecutively for 12 days, the 12 tribes brought exactly identical gifts to the tabernacle. Now, when you look carefully, this list can be divided into 2 groups of things. The first group are the utensils of platter, bowl, and pan. Now, they were used for grain offering and incense offering. The second group are the various animals of oxen, rams, goats, lambs. Now, they were to be offered for the burnt offerings, sin offerings, and peace offerings. Now, what's so special about these gifts? Now, these gifts were significant because they demonstrated that the people understood the purpose of the tabernacle. They understood what was going on in the tabernacle. You see, the tabernacle is a place of ministry and sacrifice. And the people understood what was needed for the ministry, what was needed for the sacrifice. And they brought exactly what was needed for the worship of God. You know what, church? I pray that in City Harvest Church, when we come to church, we are not just here to fulfill some religious duty, but we know exactly why we exist. We know exactly what is the purpose of our existence, the purpose of tabernacle, the purpose of worship, the purpose why we are here. The tabernacle is a place of ministry and worship. You know what? Church is a people who practice a lifestyle of giving to God and giving to one another. Now, what kind of sacrifice? You see, often people associate giving to only the giving of finances to build God's house. But let me tell you, it's more than that. Giving is more than that. For example, the Bible talks about us as people of God giving the sacrifice of prayer. The sacrifice of prayer. Look at Psalms 141 and verse 2. It says here, let my prayer be set before you as incense, the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Everybody say sacrifice. Notice, prayer is a sacrifice. This year, 2018, won't you offer the sacrifice of prayer to God? Church, won't you make time? Won't you make time to pray? But you say, but Pastor, I'm busy, I don't have time. That's why it's called a sacrifice of prayer. Make time to pray daily. Maybe some of us here, you have never attended a prayer meeting. You say, what is pre-service prayer meeting? Come early. Won't you this year, 2018, do something to bring a sacrifice to the Lord? Become a person of giving. Giving of prayer. Church is built because of a giving people. And we give not because we want something back. We give because freely I have received. Therefore, freely now I give. Apostle Paul says in Romans 12 and verse 1, he said this, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Paul says, by the mercies of God, you have received mercies from the Lord. Therefore now, won't you become a living sacrifice? This is our reasonable service. You see, when I was younger, I often tell Jesus, I say, Jesus, I have decided to follow Jesus. I've decided to serve you all the days of my life. But you know what? Yet, the older I get, I realize that serving the Lord with my life is not a single decision. It is a daily commitment. Because this morning, to be honest, when my alarm clock rang at 7 a.m., I was struggling. I was wanting to wake up, not to wake up. I was thinking, God, I already prepared a sermon. But my practice is that each time when I preach, I need to go through the sermon again. So at 7 a.m., I was struggling. I was saying, God, yesterday I preached already. I think today it should be okay. But then the other part of me said, no, you got to put in some sacrifice. Because God looks more at the heart than more than what you can do. So I said, I'm struggling, but my friends are struggling. Finally, I have to make a daily commitment. I said, God, okay lah. I have decided to follow Jesus, right? So this morning I woke up 7. I'm here at 8 to go through the sermon again. Prepare the best I know how, because this is my living sacrifice. Daily commitment. You see, someone said this before. The problem with living sacrifices is that they have the habit of clawing off the altar. So every day, we need to make a fresh commitment, every day, to serve the Lord wholeheartedly. Amen? City Harvest Church, I believe that God is not just looking at what we have, but God is looking at the attitude that we have in our giving. See, the reason why we are here, the reason why today we can be here worshiping God, we are here in this arena, we are here enjoying the praise, the worship, because somebody gave. People gave. People sacrificed. Many of us, you have given your time to serve the Lord when you are yet young, when you are a teenager, but God is calling again. Won't you make a daily commitment? See, look at the camera crew over there. Look at the sound crew at the back. Do you know? I know many of us this morning, you woke up at 9 o'clock and you still can rush to church on time before 10. Because Singapore, we are a very convenient, small country, we can get on time. But do you know at 7:30 this morning, some of these guys were already here. They left their house maybe at 6. So that you and I can be here. We can have the lights on. We can have the sound. We can have the music. The musos, right? Some of us think, wow, the musos is very free, huh? Every week can play on. Do you know some of our musos? They are lawyers. We have a doctor. We have engineer. We have mothers with kids. Fathers who need to pay bills. We are all just people, living stones. But because we have decided that we will become a living sacrifice, and that is how church is being built.